How much do you correlate what's going on in your home with your family with the growth of your business or the stability of your business or the quality of life that you experience when you're running your business? So today I want to offer a paradigm shift that has been really instrumental for me and has really allowed me to evolve as the one leading in my business and one of the leaders in my home. Maybe the exponential growth that you're seeking, maybe the opportunities that you're pursuing are less on the next business strategy you have to apply and more about the radical shift of how you have to show up at home. The first thing that we all have to do is stop thinking of home life and business life as these two totally separate things. You can even get in your car and drive to your office, but you are still, like I said, the conduit, the source in both of those worlds. And they are interdependent systems. They are interwoven. They are meant to be in congruence and in harmony, not in conflict, right? Not fighting over you. And sometimes for some of you, it's going to be a big shift to get back to that place. Not big in the amount of time, but big in the amount of detoxing and intentionality that you're going to have to bring to the table to get there. And so there's in Luminary, like we have the Luminary leadership perspective on this, that building a business is part of building your legacy, but it's done with that intentionality and it's done best with family in tow, right? Like it is meant to fuel the family, but it also can be something that hurts the family. A car is a great tool, right? Like I'm really glad that I don't have to get to my parents' house this evening. That's about a 12-minute drive that I don't have to go walk for hours in the humid weather to get there. I'm really grateful for the car that gets me from my house to their house. But a car can also be a deadly weapon, right? Like a car can be something that someone gets behind the wheel after having been drinking and they, God forbid, kill somebody on their way in that drive, right? The same thing is true for a business. I believe in the core of my being that small business and entrepreneurship is the ultimate way to create and fuel the healthiest, most connected, impactful, aligned, mission-driven family. I think it's the best possible vehicle, and try and convince me otherwise. I also believe and see that it can come completely at the detriment of family. And I'm very pro-family. So I want to help us get into a level of intentionality where we wake the hell up and say, is this a blessing or a burden on my family? And if there's any piece of me that feels like it's a burden, what am I willing to do to tip the scales into it being a blessing? You're not that far away. You're not broken. I don't care if you're 30 years into business. I don't care if your kids are grown. There is an opportunity right now for you to shift that intentionality and to show up differently and to mend fences and to do it right and to recalibrate as the leader in both of those areas of your life. Some of the how-to behind this, because I know some of you are very hungry for that a lot, is getting really clear on that visionary alignment. So are you asking yourself the right questions? Now, first, I have a series of questions that I use for myself when I feel like I've tipped the scales too far, usually towards work. Sometimes in the summer, it's too far towards family, and I'm like, I don't want to do the work thing. So I needed a way to harmonize. So if you're feeling out of whack, right? Not out of balance, I'm not asking you to be in balance, but you do not feel like these worlds are harmonious, I want you to come to Instagram and DM me the word harmony, and I will send you a series of visionary leader prompts. They are really powerful questions that when you gain the answer to these, you know exactly what to do to create that harmony. You do not have to beat your head against this wall. You do not have to figure this out on your own. I've already made this mistake enough times that I've figured out what I need to make this change, and then I've used it with a lot of my clients and it's really served them. So DM me on Instagram, the word harmony, and I'll send it to you. Or you can go to luminaryleadershipco.com/harmony. We'll drop it in the show notes. But some of the questions you need to ask yourself are simple. Like, what does success look like at home? Right? We ask ourselves that in business all the time. But what is true for me to feel truly successful in my home? What needs to be true? How do the people in my home have to feel? Right? Like what are the things that have to change? What has to stay? What has to go? Right? Like what are the values we have to get better at honoring? So just asking yourself that question, but those series of questions will really support you there. Another thing that I do is really taking into account my family when I create my Visionary CEO schedule. So many of you have already done this. You've already created your Visionary CEO schedule, but I really structure my day around protecting what matters most, right? And so different seasons might require more hours in the business, but I still have evidence when I look at my calendar that, oh, okay, I do honor this. And this gets there's a book called Hold On to Your Kids. And it was a big driver in us choosing to homeschool. And this isn't a knock. Everything I share is like what has worked for us and what is best for us. And it's different for every family. But a big driver of that was like proximity and just numbers, the amount of hours that you get with your children weighs heavily on the impact you get to have with them and the influence you get to have with them, because just simply by the nature of them getting up groggy, eating some food, getting on the bus at 7 a.m. and you not seeing them until 4, but then they have practice till 7, and then you got to feed them and bathe them and get them to bed and start over. And then, oh gosh, you get into the season where they have homework. Just simple proximity and amount of time to influence is less and less and less and less. So how are you, especially those of you that you have your kids in traditional school, or you leave the house to go into your workday? How are you preserving these pockets that are super intentional, that aren't homework or, sitting in the bleachers as your kids at practice, but they're really precious, and they might be a less amount of time than other families get, but how are you being really intentional with that time and protecting that time? And how can I see evidence of it in your calendar? And then a key thing, we're all at the stage, I don't care where you're at in business, as a true visionary CEO, you delegate. You just do. And we do that in our businesses, but sometimes we don't always do it at home. So you're maxed out in work and you're tired, and then you come and shift gears into your home life, and the bathrooms are a mess and the laundry's piling up and the food has to be prepped and dinner has to be on the table, and there are tumbleweeds of dog hair rolling around. I'm kind of describing my own home. And there are projects that need to be done. So are there areas in your home life where you can be delegating? I'm not telling you to outsource everything. I'm not telling you to go hire a house manager unless that's your thing and you have the money to do that. But I am telling you there are areas that you're pouring into over and over, week after week, that are robbing you of the time to be intentional. Now, one thing that we really try to do as a family is work as a team. Like when I'm sitting there folding laundry for a bajillion hours, because we have 6 people in this family at this time, it's a great opportunity for like one of my kids, just one, right? Because you don't get a ton of one-on-one time when you have a lot of kids. Come sit with me, right? Like come sit with me, let's talk, and we'll fold together. And no, it's not perfect, but it's intentional, right? Like it's intentional conversation. It's not just us sitting there watching TV as we fold. It's bringing a level of intentionality so you can get creative and crafty with it. I get it. We're all really busy. We all have a lot on our plate, but how can you do it differently? Now, so delegate what can come off your plate, what you can afford to delegate, and then pour that time into your family. Don't delegate those things and then just fill it with more crap, right? If you're delegating it, let it be so that you can identify the areas that have been lacking. Have you not gone on a date night? Every Friday, such a blessing. And one of the reasons we moved back to New Hampshire is we're just enveloped by family here. And my parents live really close by. And every Friday, we never had, I could count on one hand how many dates we went on when we were living in Wisconsin. And every Friday, my parents demand that our kids come to the house, and they spend like late afternoon Friday through early afternoon Saturday at my parents'. My husband and I have almost 24 hours without anybody in the house but us, which is crazy for us because we do run the business and homeschool, which means we're all together all the time. Do you hear me? We're all together all the time. So we treasure that. Like we are delegating watching of our children for a small window of time to people who absolutely love them and adore them, so that we can pour back into our marriage and often pour back into our home or the things that we want to progress because we have some time the next day to get a couple things done. So just really think about that. Like, you're conditioned, if you listen to this show, that you have a team. Well, do you have a team surrounding you when it comes to your home so that you're not, this is a whole rant. There's a whole rant, y'all. I want to know. I want to know in the comments, if you're watching, if you're listening, send me a DM. Do you want me to do a full episode on how messed up the family has become? Specifically, I can speak to the US, but I would guess a lot of Western culture, that we are isolated. We are living how I lived in Wisconsin with my husband and our kids, and it was just us against the world, versus living amidst a village. That's a whole thing, because it is so much harder. It is so much harder when you are not surrounded by this multi-generational family that's ready to lift you up. And our culture has broken that down so very much, which is super sad, because it makes it so much harder to do what you are trying to do, to raise this beautiful family and raise up this incredible business and make the impact you're called to make. That's a whole tangent. All right. The other thing is, like, be all in. Be all in. When you choose what it is going to look like and what you are reimagining for your family first, and then for your business so that it fuels that vision, be all in. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks of you. Don't worry that your download numbers might go down, or you might get less likes on Instagram because you're no longer storing your every breath and you're actually putting your phone down and being with your family. Don't worry what the algorithm, how it's going to punish you. Don't worry what your clients are going to say when you're taking calls on less days so that you can be more intentional with your time. You've chosen it. Go all in. Leaders are decisive. They go forward because they know it's the right thing. And then know that there is a multiplier effect on your effort, right? Once you make this decision and you go all in and you embrace it, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, but I'm telling you it will compound quickly. You will feel the power and the weight of what you just chose, and that weight will naturally pull you forward, and it will be an incredibly fruitful thing, and your family will feel it. And guess what? When you reflect back on your life, whenever those moments are, or whenever the final moment is, you will see the moment in time where you dodged the bullet of regret because you chose the path that took into account what matters most. You didn't fuel your ego because you had to have a business that hit a certain metric. You didn't stroke your ego because you had to put enough time into this thing that you thought was going to make you feel important and successful. And instead you honored your family. You honored the legacy that really matters. And you allowed that to be a fuel into the business, which naturally helps the business grow anyway. I get it. You feel like you don't have time. You don't have capacity. You create those things. You create those things by aligning your priorities and making the right choices. And audit your friggin' calendar. We've talked about this so many times on the show. 80% of the crap you're doing, you don't have to do anymore. It could be outsourced, right? It can be eliminated because it doesn't really matter or move the needle anyway, or it's not where you're going. It can be automated, like stop repeating the same. We have AI now. Like, it's crazy what AI can do. Or it can be deferred. It's not right for this season, because if I were to take it on this season, I'd have to take away from what matters most, and I'm not willing to do that. Okay, super simple way that you can bring this intentionality into your days. When you take out your planner, you got your top 3 business priorities. What are your top 3 family priorities? You might have a much shorter window to do those family priorities, so choose things that will align, but things you can be super intentional about that will also move the needle for your family. Like, one for us, a non-negotiable, we eat dinner together every night. Every night. We pray, we eat, we don't rush. And if activities are going to interfere with that, we either flex the meal to fit so that we eat together around the table, or we don't do the activities. What are those priorities that will allow you? Maybe it's 5 minutes of uninterrupted coffee with your spouse in the morning. How are you doing? How are you feeling? How am I doing as your spouse? What can I do better? What do you think you need today? How can I help? What went really well yesterday that you want us to bring into today? What do you wish could have been a little bit better? Like, it can be that simple, but it's that intentional. So you set the business priorities. Are you setting the family priorities each day? Super simple way to apply it. And then analyzing your energy throughout your day. I was in a really bad habit for a long time that I'd save the things with my kids, like homeschooling, for a pocket of the day where I was dragging because I felt like my work had to get the pieces of me where I was most energized. And I realized how unfair that was. So I want to make sure that I'm looking at my week and my days and where I maybe crash in the day or where I have the most energy. And I'm preserving at least some of that energy for my family, for my kids, for my spouse, and reflecting back on the week and seeing, did I give that to them or did I give it elsewhere? And the thing that's hard is that we are productive, progressing, emboldened, hungry entrepreneurs. So anything that anyone presents that makes you feel like, but is that going to slow me down? Is that going to cut into the bottom line? I promise you, when you get this right, your business goes from force to flow. Because again, you are the conduit. You are the common denominator. Because when you are knowing that you're not dropping the ball where it matters the most, you come to your career path differently. You become a different leader. And as a result of who you become, the business follows you. So you don't ever have to worry about, how is this going to slow me down? This is, if it's the right thing, not only is it the right thing, so you do it, but it also is the thing that will fuel all the growth you've been hustling for all this time anyway. Other simple things is I know this isn't revolutionary, but do you actually take time each week to reflect? Maybe it's Sunday evening, maybe it's Monday morning, looking back, prepping for the week ahead, and just asking, looking at my week, right? Looking at my month. This is one we do. We have a calendar on the wall that shows the whole year. And I can see where there are pockets where I'm I'm traveling too much. No, those launches are too close together. That event is very close to when I'm having a baby. I can look at those things and I can be I get to change this. I'm the boss. I get to look at this and reimagine what it looks like and make changes. But if you're never taking the time to reflect on those things, both big picture, but even weeks and months, and be able to say, whoa, this month is way too jammed, or this month is way too light and I don't have enough planned, really paying attention to those things and allowing yourself the permission to change your mind and reset based on those values and that legacy you're creating. 2 things I do when I'm shifting from work into family. The last few months, there have been some mega stressful things. We were negotiating contracts and just really big next level things that were messing with my head. I could carry that stress with me all the way through. So I had to take 5 minutes at the end of each day and be I am shifting into being a mom right now. What do I need to let go of? What loops do I need to close mentally so that I can show up fully for my family right now? Right? How do I go from this visionary CEO to this leader within my home, to this loving leader within my home? And I had to say, you're thinking too much about this contract right now. Write a note about what you're worried about, stick it in the planner. You can look at it tomorrow, but you got to release it. And then usually for me, prayer was very helpful for that because I couldn't seem to let go of the death grip I had on some of the stressors I was holding on to. Maybe for you, it's just quick, deep breathing. A quick walk, something to shift your focus. But if you just go okay, clock struck, whatever, and now I'm showing up and now I'm jumping in as a spaz into my other areas of my life because I never took the time to kind of recenter myself, that will be felt. The impact will be felt. Final thought for you. Envision the next 5 years of your life. When you think about who you really want to be, who you're called to be, the legacy that you want to create, the next 5 years are foundational to the next 50. When you think about those 5 years, what does success in your home look like? Our son just turned 10. In 5 years, he's going to have a driver's permit. A lot's going to change in the walls of your home in the next 5 years. But sometimes we live Groundhog Day in our business for 30. Wake up. What do you want success to feel like in your home? And what has to change or transform, go away or come in to your business over the next 5 years to support that? What has to change now over the next 6 months to ensure that you're on the trajectory towards that vision? I want you to sit with that. I want you to write it down. I want you to share it with me, tag me, tell me, And I want you to have people in your life that are holding you accountable to that. That is literally so much of the conversation we have in our Visionary CEO Mastermind, because like everyone wants to talk about the next, visibility strategy or getting media or whatever, but you see what happens in a room of successful entrepreneurs when you bring up feeling like a failure in your home. Everybody leans in. They're like, do you have resources for that? How do I fix that? I don't know how to do that. I can Google or chat GPT my way into building my next $1 million funnel, but like, how do I make sure that I don't screw up my kids? How do I make sure that I don't regret everything that I've ever done? How do I make sure that I don't regret the fact that I became successful in something that never really mattered, when everything that mattered was under my nose and I never appreciated it and I never was intentional with it? So trust me when I tell you, like, having the people surrounding you that are telling you, you're not alone. I'm struggling with this too. What are you doing? What are you doing? What worked for you? Oh, I struggle with that. This is what I did. Oh, I got divorced. These are the mistakes I made. Oh, my kids hardly talk to me. Here's what I wish I would did differently. Oh, my kids, we eat dinner every night together and we have a great relationship. Want me to share some of the things that have been working? This is why we run the master. Like, if you are not in a master, if you are an established entrepreneur and you care about this stuff, both in business and at home, you need to go to luminaryleadershipco.com/incubator and apply so we can have a conversation. This is the crux of it all. This is the foundation upon which we build the business of your dreams, because it fuels everything. I am so excited for some of the things and resources we're bringing in to this next round of the mastermind, because it's so powerful to support every corner of your life. You are being called to more, but you're called to do it in alignment with the values that you're called to live by. So we have to be intentional about that. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please go leave an Apple review, 5-star, preferably. And please share this. I want to get this into the hands of all the incredible founders like you out there, just doing their best, but maybe needing some support and guidance along the way.